Hello, Dr. Jessica Ash here. Today, I have the honor of talking with Bert-Ola Bergstrand, a systems entrepreneur, and Michael Sillion, Captain Future, about SOCAP, the intersection of meaning and money. So stay tuned. Hello again. So we're talking about recreating society based on impact, not money, flipping the system. And so I'm very happy to be able to discuss these concepts and more with Bert-Ola and Michael Sillion. Bert and Michael, thank you for being here today.
Great to be here. So
can you introduce yourselves first?
Yeah, Bert-Ola, my name. I'm from Sweden, the heart of Sweden, Östersund. I'm a systems entrepreneur. I weave people together, people, organizations who want to make a difference in the world. And difference in this aspect is that they try to improve society. So I think we'll go deeper into that in the conversation. I've been on this mission for, I would say, the whole my life, but the last 50 years I've done it quite systematically. Yeah,
that's quite the dedication.
Well, we do as good as we can.
Yes. Okay. And Michael, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Michael Sillion, call myself Captain Future. Been in the field with Bert-Ola for 10 years now, traveling the world, connecting the dots, and navigating how to understand ourselves and the world we're in, so that we can change it for the better.
This is very fortuitous and timely that the three of us are together, because we're all trying to make the world a better place. And I'm wondering if you could tell me how SOCAP plays a role in that.
Yes, I absolutely can. So SOCAP in this sense stands for Social Capital Markets. And it has been a part, quite big part, I would say, of the last 10, 12 years of my personal journey. So SOCAP stands for Social Capital and Markets. So it was a big, or it is a big conference that takes place normally autumn every year since 2008 in San Francisco, which bring thought leaders, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, impact investors, academics, and other institutions who want to build this better society or good society. So that is SOCAP. I think around 3,000 people join every year, and there's a lot of side events and other people coming in there as well to join. It's great. It's a bit of Burning Man of the investment, some people say, for people who don't know Burning Man.
I don't know Burning Man.
Yeah, Burning Man is the world's largest participatory event in Nevada desert. Every year, 80,000 people come together. It's an amazing experience. I haven't been attended, but I know it pretty well. So that's it. So I'm the title or the headline of SOCAP is in the intersection of meaning and money. So it's some kind of combination of the meaning and the culture, the purpose, and the economics.
Okay. And Michael, why do you call yourself Captain Future, and how does that relate to SOCAP?
For my part, Captain Future came from a call out from Jason Silva made a couple of videos when he explored the quote from Buckminster Fuller when he said, Buckminster said, we have to become the crew members of Spaceship Earth. That's our planet. And Jason Silva said in his video, we are the captains of Spaceship Earth. And And I asked myself and some friends, who am I and what should I do? And they said, you should be this Captain Future, because you always talk about the future, and you're a big fan of geek culture, superheroes and stuff like that. So Captain Future is a combination of Buckminster Fuller, superheroes, and
So it sounds like, when I hear that, it sounds like we're all members or crew members of Spaceship Earth, which means that we all play a role in the society that gets created. Yeah.
yeah, and it's about adapting that mindset and start playing that role. So like we can see us today here in the capital west, that we are like passengers on a luxury cruise. It's just demanding that we get everything served to us, and we can just extract everything from nature and from each other. This hunt for money and extraction and fame and power, that is part of our Western world, at least, but also spreading all over the globe now. It's not sustainable. So we have to see ourselves as crew members instead, stewards, guardians, midwives, to take care of ourselves, the ecosystems we have here on our planet, and the whole planetary biosphere.
So it's worth noting that some of these ideas are really being taken to the next level in the group that we're all in, Clubhouse. And I recommend you guys Spice Nation, because they're talking about it. If you go back to like not anything about current politics in the US, but go back over 200 years to the philosophy that the founders had and the ideas that they had. This new group is redesigning society. So it's not necessarily going back to the US founders' ideas, but some of them, yes. But it's not, what I love about Clubhouse is it's not about like left or right. It's about, okay, what are we going to do? How do we want to design this new society? And that's why how SOCAP comes into this. Can you, Bert, can you tell us some of the things that SOCAP has done?
Yes, I mean, the background, since I know the founder pretty well, the background for SOCAP was really, I think it was around 2006 or something. SOCAP started first time in September 2008, but in the time of, if you remember, the fall of Lehman Brothers and the economic crisis, almost 15 years back.
This new group. Sorry.
Hello, yeah. So SOCAP was like, okay, markets are not created. They are created. They don't fall from the sky. It's not something that is just, stock market in Wall Street or something. It is basically created. So the founders wanted to create a new market. Our existing has lost control. It's only about money. So we need to go back to the basic again. Hello? Yeah. I can't hear. There's something in double. Okay. I can't hear now.
I'm listening.
Okay. So he wanted to create this like relational market, social capital. That's relations. We can go deeper into that, and markets. So it's a bit like going back to how do we create something? Do you need the people there? Social capital is the people and the relations. So relation-based market. So that was the starting point, or when they started again, 2008. And of course, over time, it has evolved. They wanted to gather the people who wanted to make a difference, the social enterprises, social entrepreneurs, academics and all sorts of actors in society. So that was like the starting point of this. And not only SOCAP, of course, there are a large number of similar events or media platforms, market platforms. It is something new that is emerging. that is a bit media, it's a bit knowledge, it's a bit journey, it's a bit event, it's a bit business. So there are many pieces that constitutes this new phenomenon of a marketplace. So we can go deeper into that, but that was the foundation of SOCAP. And after that, and before even, I would say there are probably hundreds of similar events or marketplaces emerging, like mushrooms almost. So I think to some way it has catalyzed other marketplaces, but it's also foundation of what is growing from like the conditions of where we are in society. So I think it's a response of something that has been missing out there. That's my take on it.
So and then I'll ask Michael, how does money fit into this relational network? And before you answer, I'll say that, like right now, there are 6 people who control most of the wealth in the world, or maybe 7, and there doesn't seem to be any relationship to what people are doing for the good on earth. And what I'm hearing Bert say, tell me if I'm right, about SOCAP in being relational is that everything plays a role, not just money. Is that a good summary, or what do you think, Mike?
Absolutely, that's the intention. But a problem in the world is that we have power as well. And people with power have seldom given it away for if it has not been a war or a fight or something. So power is a very problematic thing in the history of humankind, and probably in the future as well. So I think that is a bit of the power battles out there. So this is something emerging, like a new economy or a social capital economy, social capitalism. Some people say it has a lot of names, I would say, on the same phenomenon. But I don't think it will be easy, and it's not like evident in what direction we are going. This power dimension is very important, and it's often maybe tricky to see how power shifts all the time. But obviously now we have technology and the Silicon Valley and China coming up, so it's new players there in power.
Yes, well, when I think of power, I also think that my first degree was anthropology, and as animals, humans are designed to gather resources, kind of like a squirrel, and he who has access to the most resources wins. So it's almost like an instinct. So Michael, what's your take on what Bert and I have been talking about?
Yeah, like what we have to understand is like today's system of capitalist market is a game we play. Like very few people actually understand what a market is, what an economical system is, and what money is. So, and these are deep understandings we have to have. Like today's game, we play with a currency that is what we call fiat money, that is mostly created out of debt and thin air. And I saw interesting research around it that less than 2% of today's transactions are actually regarding products and services that we humans produce and consume for each other. The rest is just a layer of financial overload that is part of this system of extracting money and value from the rest of us that actually produce this value in products and services for each other. Things we need in a daily basis: food, housing, clothes, all kinds of services that now transpire in the service economy. And most people think that this is largely part of the economy, but that is not the case anymore. So there's something very skewed and wrong in today's system of capitalist markets. We have to create a new market system where the value we create for each other is the main part of our economical systems. And if we use our fiat money to do that for now, like we try to do in SOCAP, impact investing and stuff like that, that's fine for now, but we can see that it's not enough. And the other system that extracts money from this system are outrunning and outpacing our efforts tenfold So it's not going to work in the long run. There's a fantastic graph on Visual Capitalist that shows the visualization of all the money in the world from 2020, and you can see that there's a humongous amount of money circulating in the financial system, in real estate, in all kinds of financial products and derivatives that outnumbers real money 100 times almost.
I was in a group the other day, and they were talking about like one transaction. Susie owes the grocery store $200, and then the grocery store owes their supplier $200. The supplier owes the manufacturer $200, and it's just like, so you're talking about only 2% are actually of transactions are based on goods and services. The rest is like this hamster wheel.
Yeah. On top of that, something that ordinary citizens can't see anyway. Like you said, most of the people on Earth today owns less than the 6 or 8 richest people in the world. So they're accumulating money everywhere, extracting it from the system, and just making more and more money by using money.
Bert, what are your thoughts on what Michael just said?
Yeah, I mean, very much agree with that. So, yeah, so I don't have the perfect solution, and yet
No.
Michael takes the hard answer.
The hard questions. So we don't know that, but we have to have a system where we actually can see things like water, food, and things like that actually matters. That we value that in the right way. If fish stocks, crop growing, we take care of our topsoil, our water supply, and that is coupled to all the systemic risk we see today with climate change, pollution of topsoil, pollution of the seas, things we need to survive. And we can't go to Mars and survive there. Mars is a perfect dream for actually uniting us and dream together. So that's not. I fully recommend that we pursue this problem with a small amount of percent of the resources we actually do to create a better life here on Earth. But the science and the dream and the story about it is fantastic, because we need something that to unite us and understand we're on this boat together, and we better figure out how to manage our limited resources and how to make them circular and regenerative or flourishing, whatever word you use, if we want to stand this test of time and actually be around in 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years, or 1,000,000 years. We will evolve as humans in that time, but we certainly want to continue life as it is here on the planet. And to figure out how to balance all the actors there, we can now use actually the systems that we have used to make the system we have today. AI algorithms and machine learning and things like that can help us understand all the value chains, all the supply chains. So see that where is things going wrong in every chain? Where is it taxing the system? Where is the pollution? Where is things that we don't want to do, and solve those problems? And we can use that to visualize and make transparent the system that no human can grasp on its own today.
Yeah.
So the idea. Go ahead, Bert.
And I think from the positive way seen, I think the human potential is underestimated. You can just see it this year when we get the corona crisis, how people, I mean, the governments were panicking in the beginning, closed down all the borders. People run to the shops to buy everything from toilet paper to whatever existed. And now, 1 year later, in one way or another, we have learned, at least to some extent, to live with it. I just visited the lake. You can see on my Facebook profile, people keep on living their lives. Of course, it's hard for a lot of people, but in one way or another, we learn how to deal with these problems. And when big problems arise, we can really see how brains and the institutions and organizations really start to tackle it. So and with the development of new tools and technologies and better cooperation, the human potential is enormous, I think. And some of the, like say, the very positive people, I heard one person at Clubhouse the other day, he was absolutely convinced that in 30, 40 years, we would have solved all the problems in the world. So at least that's my hope, and I don't know, but I think there's a pretty good chance that we're underestimating the power of what we can do, and that's what we need to hope for. If we just make a trajectory, everything will be bad, and the 4 degrees below zero, rise of the temperature. If we just extrapolate the line linearly, it will not be a nice future. But we don't see the human potential curve on the other side. So I think that's the big hope.
So the idea, for our viewers, the idea that we would put Earth, values-based living, firemen, people who are doing good things at the center of the core of the future, it shouldn't be revolutionary, but it's really very exciting to think about how we can just restructure society, because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and hopefully it's the good. We have seen some really bad people through history in command, and how quickly things can go wrong. And it has happened a number of times the last 100 years. If we look at communism and Stalin and Hitler and others, so it's not evident where we are going, and things can shift quickly. So we need to go be cautious and look out for the small signs before they grow too strong. And that's what a bit scary when you look at democracy in US and different trends, like this weak signals out there that's growing stronger. Because in this, when it's going bad and when it's hard times, then often these type of people show up there as like we have the solution. So that's just some small input.
So, Michael, I'm interested in your opinion on this. But after the Cold War, I was convinced the world would never be stupid enough to permit a dictator to come to power. And I look around the world, and you look at the despots across Africa that call themselves presidents, and they're, certainly other countries. And it's really disturbing because, Bert was talking about power. And like in Nigeria, for example, they have a president, and the president makes $6 million a month. And they call that democracy. But that's not democracy. Just like President Xi in China is not a president. He's a dictator, and he controls everything in the country. But he just decided, okay, I want to be a president, so I'm a president. Sure. So, Michael, here's a hard question. Do you have any solutions for that? How can we get rid of it?
Yeah, sure. I'm the Captain Future, so I have all the solutions.
Okay, so how do we get rid of dictators?
How would you regret it? So in the end, things will sort itself out. If we could destroy the ecosystems, they will in turn not enable us to produce enough food to support the lot of us, and enough of us will die off until we can support each other and eat the food that are facilely produced for us. But that's not a pretty journey, and there's going to be a lot of suffering. So that's not the route we want to take. So we want to figure out how to balance everything. Everything will be balanced, and we humans will probably be around. But if we're going to have the technology and the society that actually can produce what we call enchanted rocks that actually make it possible for us to speak on a small device like this is to each other, we have to have a higher standard that actually makes this a journey that continues. So we will send us as far back into the Stone Age that we will never recover from this, probably. And we want that one. Huh?
What do you mean by enchanted rocks?
Enchanted rocks is a silly name for microchips. because like the design of microchips today, it's extremely complicated, and it's been a journey to go where we are today. That we have not even foreseen, and the amount of technology and stability and the resource systems we needed in the world today to actually produce the things with the use today is very complex, and no human understand them alone. But we can use what we have, what some people call collective intelligence. There's some great books and seminars you can find if you search of this. Jeff Mulgan has a fantastic book and seminars around this, and that's where we get now. We couldn't even foresee that Clubhouse, a new audio tool for collective intelligence, would be around a year ago. But here it is. I have seen so many great people starting to talk to each other that have never met before and never talked before, and didn't even foresee a year ago that we just can start and collaborate and coordinate a global collective intelligence in a way I see a possibility. It's not the answer per se, but this is a way forward to start coordinating a new way of organizing everything in society. And what we lack is understanding of each other. Some call it like wisdom, a deeper understanding of who we are as who am I, how do I work, how do my emotions work, what happens when I'm hungry or sad, or what happens when I'm happy. And we also have to understand our deeper relationship to everything around us. Where does my clothes come? Are they toxic or in the long run for me? Where have they been? Is someone suffering in the end of the supply chain and things like that? So understand that, and we have to understand a deeper understanding what it is to actually live on a planet. This is our biosphere. We only have one. If we fuck it up, it's gone forever. and when we understand that relationship and deeper connection to some call it mindfulness, spirituality, meaning making, sense making. Once we understand that this is all skills, and we have to train each other in these skills, and we have education today in the West, and say let's just get education to the rest of the world and things we sorted out. We see here in the West we have well educated, but we have what we call very little wisdom. So that's the route we have to take. This deeper understanding how everything is connected, everything we do affects everything else. Even if I do a very small part, it's all connected in larger systems. And once we have meditate and understand that deeply, we can transpire. And it's certainly doable. We've seen so many people staying at home for a year now, starting to question, what is it to go to work? Why do I commute? Why do I sit in a suit in an office when I can sit at home in my cozy sweatshirt? Yeah. Be comfortable, and this is step one of this. The question is there now, and now we have the opportunity to start look for the answers to these questions. What is it all about? And what Clubhouse? What insights do I need? I can go to the gym and train my muscles. Where do I go to train my mind? Where do I go to train my heart and spirit? Like all the people. Like wisdom gyms, emotional gyms, spiritual gyms. Where are those? And I've explored that for the last year, using digital Zoom meetings and other exercises. A place called the STOA is a fantastic collection of all these exercises, emotional exercises, cognitive exercises, and sense-making exercises.
What's it called?
All part of the STOA.ca. So.
Oh, I'm interested in that.
Yeah. We have an exercise called Glass Speed Game that we will run tonight in 3.5 hours on the STOA. That is one of the best exercises I've done for the last year, and it really helped me as well set myself on a path to wisdom.
Wow, make sure you share that link with me.
Yeah.
And so you guys are talking about something that is one of the reasons why we met each other. So we met each other through SDG Academy in Pakistan. And so one of my missions, as you guys have heard 300 times in every room in Clubhouse, is co-rising. The idea that all countries have to rise together. And if one country rises, but the others don't, then we all fail. And we're talking about here, not only economies, but the earth, emotional intelligence, actual wisdom, which is different from learning how to make a computer chip. But I'm reminded of Sir Ken Robinson, the late Sir Ken Robinson, who was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II. He said that any farmer knows that his soil is rich when there are diverse crops in it. So first you grow corn, and then, I mean, there's a science with this, but first you grow corn and then you grow tomatoes to change the nutrients and to replenish different nutrients. And so we're talking about diversity ecologically, but then for me, it's diversity globally and expanding the idea of who is we. And so that's, I think, a very good intersection of why I think SOCAP is so important for our future. So Bert, what's next for SOCAP? Anything big coming up?
I think everything is evolving step by step. It has its time, and then something new emerges. When I met the founder of SOCAP first time, it was on email, in fact. So that was a very interesting experience in itself. That was 12 years back, something like that, late 2008. And now we are new times. So on this journey, new things happen. Of course, we have artificial intelligence coming in, all these new technologies, neuroscience, biotech, 3D printing. So we have like a new industrial revolution or evolution in parallel to this passion economy. So it's hard to see where things are going, but that's what I hope with navigation and this, that a problem I can see is that we are often focusing, in my opinion, too much on technology and too little on the people. So I think we can see, at least in the Nordic countries, a strong individualism concentration of the last 50, 60 years. And that has brought a lot of, you have the freedom for the individual to fulfill your whatever you want, your own capabilities. And then you have the technology aside, but the social capital is sort of the glue in between. That's the relation. So, and the positive thing here in Clubhouse is, I'm not sure if I get to see the bubbles. You follow people and you see more and more of the same. But at least what I experienced the last month here is there's more and more discussion around community and purpose and compassion and empathy and everything.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is some kind of need out there that these platforms can help out with to fulfill. It's not only like in the Social Dilemma movie, I think, where they have put some kind of trigger to your brain to sit and connect people all the time. It's also a need for people to connect to each other. It has been a missing link there of connectedness. So it's I think sort of Clubhouse and other platforms to build, and I really can see, if you compare with other platforms like Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and so forth, great platforms where you can share a lot of valuable knowledge and like that. But what Clubhouse does is also to bring people together in them. Just this dialogue bonds people. So you can see the potential of other people. And a lot of people I've spoken to for the first time after being connected with them for years on Facebook. So I could see the potential, and I had an understanding, roughly, you're doing this, and I could see the website or something. But here you get 5-10 minutes and hear the story of what I speak about. So that's an element of bonding things together. So, and I think voice and the design of this platform makes this bonding together. Yeah. But like you said, the diversity as well, because we know from networks, if you want to look into it, it's called homophilia theory. And over time, communities become more and more like-minded. So you end up with the same type of people after time. Because for many reasons, it's easier to be with people who understand each other. It's not it's hard to be with a lot of crazy people in the room who are not thinking like you. You don't tolerate them. It's easier to be with people who say yes than no. So there's a lot of gravitational forces to become like-minded, and that's a danger, because over time that is what makes companies or communities to die, because you don't get in the new blood. And that's the key with diversity, the blend of community and the new blood. So to invest in development, I, as an organization, is that constantly look for investment in the new things. And you do that if you're a good company. Then you go to conferences, you invest R&D budgets or like them to expand. But I can see some bubbles here already in Clubhouse, and that is what I predict will happen. People who have no knowledge in this, they will start to form a club, and then they will be sucked into this club, and they will facilitate the club development, and they will not have time to expand outside the club. It will consume all time to be within the club, the community, and that's of course nice, but at the same time, often if you don't continue to look outside your bubble, it slowly, after some time,
It drifts.
drips. It has its top, and then it starts to go down. So that's a bit of tricky thing in development. To in social capital, we speak about 3 types of social capital. You have the bonding social capital, which is the community capital. Around the campfire, you sit together and you build community and listen to others and like that. That's the bonding element. Then you have the bridging. That's the explorer, the one who travels out to other places and find similar. You go, maybe if you're in soccer or in e-games or whatever, ice hockey, you go to look at your favorite game in another part of the world or on TV. You find like-minded people and you have great time on the pub or something. You say, wow, did you do that or this? And you always have this great wow effects, as I said. And around that, often serendipity happens, because you have the same passion and you haven't been in contact with each other before. So something happens in this interconnected space. And then the third relations, which is the most tricky one, is the power relations, which we call linking social capital. And why it's hard is because if you have power, often you have gatekeepers, because it's less resources. People with power control resources, and they are often afraid to lose these resources. So you need different strategies to cope with this sort of qualities and network, the bonding, the bridging, and the linking social capital. And with an understanding of this sort of different types, you can also see this, because it's often hidden or intangible. You don't see, for example, when it breaks down. The worst thing with social capital is when you can say, what's the value of social capital? What's the value of a war, a conflict? Because when things break down, really what comes to, when we have peaceful stability in society, we have often a good social capital, or a reasonable good. But when it breaks down and you don't have the relations anymore, the worst case would be a war. And that's the alternative cost of social capital. Plus also the creation of what you could do together. So it's double, it's all what you could do if you had maintained the relations, the creative potential, and the war cost of suffering and breakdown of infrastructure and everything. So that is the value of social capital. Of course, there are other types of capital involved also, all the intelligence of the individuals and like that. But often social capital is referred to as the relations between people and institutions and what we have built together. While human capital is our individual assets, experiences, knowledge, wisdom, and so forth. But relations are more like, what do we do together?
Together.
Effect 1 + 1 is greater than 2.
Yeah. So how, like, for example, how do you take your emotional intelligence or all of the education that you've had? How do you link with other people?
Yeah, and I think that
do-
that is really the potential of this economy we are in, with potential and new technology. This 1+1+1 is not 3. It's not a bit larger than 3. It's maybe 111. So
Right.
that is the human potential. If we can figure out that, what we really can do together. But we are not there yet. But that's, I think, what we do in the new economy. We experiment, prototype a lot with all this new bit of buzzwords, blockchain, and
Right.
new currencies, and like that. So that's early stage of the potential there, the infrastructure of the human potential to build upon.
I just really love talking to you guys. And we're kind of running out of time here. So I thought I'd give Michael a chance to have some last amazing words.
Yeah. Like this is just the beginning of a great new step. We can see this brewing under the surface. This longing and needed deep for, like what Bert said, to build these kinds of capital, to understand that we, how everything is connected, and how we as in what we call a networked society take part as nodes and players, as participants in this new type of economy that is emerging, and it's up to us. It's as participants in this in the design of human society. We are all nodes and players. The future is the sum of all our actions. So if everyone decided one day that we would all move to the South Pole, and we all did it, we would all be there. So if a collective action takes place, we would all do it. We noticed this during COVID. They said people were criticized flying, said, and all systems says we will never stop flying, but we did. We all collectively said, I'm not going to fly. And no one did, and that's happened. So if we can start coordinating collective actions and intelligence, we can say no one will buy food that is part of some kind of extraction and poisonous or polluting ecosystems. And we all had perfect information in that. We're not perfect, but very good information to see this food is probably toxic in some form, and we said no one will buy it, and if that happens overnight, it happens overnight. So and the power of collective intelligence is of course the coordination and the will, who decides who does what in that circle. But that's something we have to figure out. But we are on a step to like see that this is something we actually can do as human. We can coordinate this.
And I want to add also another example on this, what Corona has brought into the picture. I'm not sure if Jessica is still there. Yes, she's coming here. So I read an article the other day, and we will have a discussion on this tomorrow in Clubhouse. It's the CEO and co-founder of the firm or entity called House of Beautiful Business in Germany, Tim Lebrecht, and he wrote this article, Do We All Need to Become Moderators in Time of Clubhouse? And a quote in that article was, multiverse leaders commute between different worlds. So I really like that, because that's a bit what at least I've been doing the last 10 years. And this notion of different worlds, because I'm sure Michael and many of us who have been in this digital physical world see there's other people say, but this is not real. You need to come to the real world, and the real world is the physical world. And often at least I have met people who say, no, I can't connect with that person because I haven't met him or her for real in the physical world. This has forced us in the Corona times to really connect with a person in another world. Even the people who before I only add people who I met physically. But now they need to connect in another world. So I think this will be a big shift of learning people to step into another type of world and feel comfortable there.
I love that phrase, multiverse leaders commute between.
And I like, I'm a good friend, Rehan in Pakistan
Mm-hmm.
said, and I totally agree with that. It's like you can connect with a person you met 5 minutes real, and you have no idea whatsoever about the background. But the person you have been speaking with or seen hours and hours on social media, you can't add because it's too dangerous. So that's a bit of strange for me. Like it was always strange in that sense. But I think this shift of learning to commute in different worlds digitally that's one of the key ingredients, elements of building this human potential ahead, I hope. Let's see what happens. But also at the same time, have in mind that things can go in the wrong direction as well. We have seen it before, so we need to keep an eye on these weak signals in society and hope we go in the right in the direction we hope. Or we want to see. I mean, we want to see, not hope.
So we've kind of run out of time. Michael, do you have any last words?
No, just join us on Clubhouse and we explore this together.
Okay.
We are there all the time.
Are we going to
find us there?
Are we going to find otters today, or
we will find the others? That's
camels?
The camels. Yeah. So I use playfulness and silliness as part of my toolbox
it's very fun
to connect to people.
Okay.
And I think you have 9 different. At least 9 different identities.
I'm up to 30 now. So.
30,
are you?
So.
That's funny.
Yeah,
so
30 different avatars I use as my profile just to play around, and I make new ones every day now.
I learn from you, so thank you for that. So I hope that we'll take a break in the future sometime from Clubhouse to revisit this conversation and see, as Bert has said, step by step how it's developed. Sometime in the near future, yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so thank you both for being here today.
Thank you. It was
Find
great.
us and join us. We're open to any types of conversation and connection and talk more about this. So find us and join us.
Wonderful, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Find the others.
Bye-bye. You've been listening to a discussion with the social entrepreneur, Bert-Ola Bergstrand, and Captain Future, Michael Sillion, about SOCAP, the intersection of meaning and money. Thank you.